billion in Apple investment in the U.S. Of course, they've already pledged $500 billion over the next 4 years. So this brings that total to $600 billion of investment. I'm not sure the timeline of the new, we don't know the details of the new announcement, but it's powered Apple higher, adding 20 points to the S&P 500, an index that's gaining less than 50. So Apple making up almost half of the move.
Yeah, keep in mind, I mean, the S&P 500 is what, almost 6% of the S&P, and it's what, about 7.3 of the NASDAQ went up. But in terms of the weighting and the impact that it does on those indexes, it's a lot. We did talk to our Mark Gurman, though, and he said basically it could be investments in companies that are already working with Apple. So it's always what the details are all about to get an idea of what this means for U.S. supply chains, U.S. manufacturing, and how it impacts the economy. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk with the CEO of Mountain, Mark Douglas. You talked to him this morning.
Yes, he had, first of all, those shares, they just went public in May.
Yeah.
And they're up over 80% in the last 2.5 months.
But they're getting smacked around today. So we're going to talk about the business, right?
That's funny because I looked at MNTN Equity CN Go. Price target raised on Mountain. JMP raised at Raymond James. Raised at Morgan Stanley. Raised at Needham. Raised at Evercore ISI. I mean, everybody's raising their price target on this company.
All right. We got a lot to get to. Let's get to Amy Morris with a check on the trade. Some of the names on the move. Here's Amy.
All right. Thank you, Carol. Before we get into that, I want to let you know that President Trump reportedly with Vladimir as soon as next week, sources telling the New York Times. Trump also plans to follow up with a meeting between himself, Putin, and Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky. Not clear if Putin and Zelensky have agreed to any of this. We're going to continue to follow this for you. Markets being driven by a rally in big tech. We do check markets for you all day long at Bloomberg. S&P 500 up 0.75%. NASDAQ up 1.2%. And the Dow is up 0.25%. The 10-year Treasury yield at 4.22%. The 2-year yield at 3.69%. Shares of Apple are 5.6% higher as we await President Trump's announcement that Apple will commit to spend another $100 billion on domestic manufacturing. It is the latest pledge by Apple to increase U.S. production of its products as it looks to avoid tariffs on its iPhones. Apple CEO Tim Cook is expected to attend. And Disney reported better than expected third quarter earnings, with continued growth at its parks and streaming business overshadowing a tough climate for movies and traditional TV. Disney CEO Bob Iger said on the earnings call that Disney will incorporate Hulu into one big app.
We are building on Disney's value proposition in streaming by combining Hulu into Disney Plus to create a unified app experience featuring branded and general entertainment, news, and sports, resulting in a one-of-a-kind entertainment destination for subscribers.
Disney CEO Bob Iger on today's earnings call. Shares of Disney right now 2% lower. Novartis reportedly making a takeover approach for rare disease-focused biotech Avidity Biosciences. The Financial Times reports Novartis has been evaluating a bid and expressed interest in an acquisition. Avidity is working with its advisors to assess its options. Shares of Avidity right now 22% higher. For on-demand news 24 hours a day, subscribe to Bloomberg News now wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Amy Morris. That's a Bloomberg Business Flash. We go back now to Bloomberg Business Week Daily with Carol Massar and Matt Miller.
All right, so appreciate it. Thank you so much. Amy Morris, she is in for Charlie Pellet on this Wednesday. I want to talk a little bit about the markets, as Matt was talking about the outperformance in terms of the impact on the overall market. We're talking about Apple, right? Really pushing up the overall trade today.
Yeah, Apple has been a bit of a loser lately, right? It's the second worst performer.
Loser, but a laggard.
Okay, it's a $3 trillion company, and I buy everything they make.
Yeah, no, doing okay.
Is the stock has underperformed 5 of the Mag 7 stocks this year to date, and 5 of the Mag 7